Prepare to plunge headlong into the grim darkness of the far future with the Getting Started with Warhammer 40,000 magazine. The magazine contains 2 awesomely detailed miniatures, and we'll be taking you through how to paint them in this video. Whether you're painting models to play games with or to develop your skills, painting is a really rewarding part of the Warhammer hobby. We'll be using just 5 paints and 1 type of brush to get these models painted and looking great, ready for their first game on the battlefield in no time. The paints we've used are on screen now. We'll be using these paints to paint our Space Marine in the colours of the Noble Ultramarines and the Tyranids in the iconic High Fleet Leviathan colour scheme. However, it's entirely up to you how you want to paint your Warhammer miniatures, so feel free to use your imagination. Now, if you're completely new to painting, don't worry, we'll talk you through everything you need to know to paint these fantastic miniatures. Before we can paint our miniatures though, we'll need to build them. In addition to the guide included in the magazine, we've also got a video called Your Mini to help you out. This video belongs to the Citadel Colour Painting Essentials playlist, which can be found on our YouTube channel. The videos there provide you with all the help you need to start your Warhammer painting journey. Once you've built your models, it's time to prepare a painting area. You'll need a hard surface to paint on and a covering for it to protect it. You'll also need a water pot and something to use as a palette. You could use an old plate or even a piece of cardboard if you don't have a Citadel palette pad. So the first thing that we need to do before painting any miniature is to undercoat it. If you haven't heard of undercoating before, don't panic, we'll be talking you through it. So let's get started by painting that mighty Infernus Marine. So with that said, let's get started with an undercoat. An undercoat acts as a foundation for the rest of our paints to stick to. We can do this in 2 ways, either by using a spray can or by painting layers of the paint on from the pot. We'll be showing you how to undercoat by painting layers onto a miniature in this video. However, if you'd like to learn how to undercoat using a spray can, you can check out our video all about it. Don't worry if your paint is looking a little bit discoloured in the pot. It's normal for paint to separate in the pot when it's been sat for a while. All we need to do is give the pot a really good shake before we use it. This just makes sure that the paint is fully mixed so that we get a consistent colour. For this video, we're using a Citadel starter brush, but feel free to use whatever brushes you're most comfortable with. So first we need to wet our brush to soften it up, then we wipe away any excess water. We want the brush to be damp but not sodden. And once that's done, we can load up the bristles with a little bit of paint from the pot and apply this to the palette. Now you might have noticed that these miniatures are really detailed, and we don't want to clog this up by applying 1 thick layer of paint. To stop this, we thin our paints down with a bit of water. And this is a great habit to get into early on, as this will help you achieve a smooth and consistent finish on all your miniatures. If you'd like more information about thinning paints, you can check out our Painting Essentials video all about it. So once the paint is on the palette, add some water to it and mix it together. You'll see that this thins it down and makes the paint flow better. Now we need to load up our brush, so dip into the paint on our palette and twist the brush and drag it down towards you. This helps to keep a point on the brush, which makes it easier to paint neatly. Now just be careful here, we don't want to get paint onto the metal part of the brush. This is called the ferrule, and if the paint dries here, it could actually damage the bristles over time. So when you're applying this paint to your miniature, you don't need to worry about being neat. Just make sure you get into all those tricky to reach areas. It's entirely up to you if you want to do the base now or later. We'll be painting it in black at the end anyway, so it's really up to you. Don't worry if you notice that the paint isn't quite gripping onto the miniature properly on that first coat. Just keep going and get the paint onto as much of the miniature as possible. Once it's fully dry, we'll apply a second coat, and you'll see that this one covers much better. Once you're happy with the coverage of the second coat, again, leave it to dry and then we'll apply a third one. And this time you'll see that we'll be left with no bare plastic showing through. So we've got a nice, smooth blue undercoat. This is now ready to apply some extra colours to. So congratulations, you've just undercoated your first miniature. With that undercoat done, we can now paint the black details. If you're ever unsure of where to place certain colours, refer to the images in the magazine. Black areas on this miniature include the gun casing, the pouches and the undersuit too. To paint the black areas, we'll be using a Citadel base paint called Abaddon Black. You might notice that both the paints we've used so far are a type of Citadel paint called base paints. And if you'd like to learn more about them, we've got a video about them. They're specially designed for higher coverage on our miniatures. So just like we said before, it's always good practice to thin down your paints with some water on the palette. Doing this creates a much smoother consistency, which can be applied with several thin coats to a miniature. This might seem to take a little bit longer in the first instance, but stick with it as it will give you a much better end result. Be as neat as you can when you're doing this, but don't worry, mistakes can always be tidied up. If you happen to get any black onto the blue areas, just take some thinned down Macragge blue and use that to tidy back up. Now we'll be using Balthasar Gold. You'll see that this is a shiny paint which makes details on our miniatures look metallic. We'll be using this to paint the armour trim as well as some details on the weapons. We can also use this to paint the discarded canister on the base just to add some extra colour to that base. Again, take your time and be as neat as you can. Just work your way around the miniature picking out all of those details. And don't worry, we can always tidy up any mistakes. Even though this is a metallic paint, we treat it just like the others, making sure to give it a good shake and thinning it down before we apply it to a miniature. We'll need to do 2 to 3 thin coats to get a full coverage of this colour. And when you've finished using metallic paints, be sure to give that paint water a quick change. You might notice it's looking quite shiny. These shiny flakes can get into our non-metallic paints and make those shiny. We want to avoid this, so start off with some fresh paint water when you've finished with your metallics. The next thing we need to do is use Wraithbone to paint any parchment. You'll need a few thin layers of this paint to fully cover over that dark blue undercoat. So just take your time and build up your layers. Make sure that you allow each coat to fully dry before you move on to the next one. If you're trying to paint over a layer that isn't quite dry, you might find that this starts to move the paint around and create unwanted texture on our miniatures. Painting in all the colours on a miniature like this is called base coating, and with that one done, we've just got a couple more details left to paint. Now we'll be using Naggaroth Night to paint the wax seals. You'll notice that these are what the parchment is attached to. These are quite small details, so just take your time and make sure that you've got a really steady painting position. Also make sure you've got a good point on your brush, as this will help you be neat. But again, don't worry, we can always tidy up mistakes. Once again, you'll need a few thin layers of paint to get that full coverage. The last thing we're going to do is tidy up the base and the base rim. For this, all we need to do is paint over the whole thing with Abaddon Black. Once again, we'll need to thin it down and apply a few thin layers. This will just be a really nice finishing touch which helps give our miniature a really clean look. When it comes to painting the base rim, just make sure that you've got clean hands. We don't want to spoil our hard work by accidentally smudging paint onto our miniature. And with that done, your Infernus Marine looks awesome and is ready for battle. Now let's move on to that very hungry Termagant. For the first paint on our Termagant, we'll be using Wraithbone to do an undercoat again. Just like we said before, we can either undercoat using a spray can or by painting on several layers of paint from the pot. Here we'll be using Wraithbone from the pot, thinning it down with some water and applying around 3 coats to our miniature. Don't forget to give your paints a really good shake before you use them. This will just make sure that we've got a really nicely mixed paint which will be consistent throughout. To do this undercoat, just follow the same steps that we used for the Infernus Marine, building up those thin layers. Again, you could choose to paint the base now or later. We'll be painting it in black later anyway, so again, it's up to you. Next, we'll be using Abaddon Black to pick out areas like the claws and the hooves as well as those sharp teeth. Just take your time here and be as neat as you can. Some of these details are quite small and intricate. Make sure you've got a steady painting position and that you just take your time. Remember, you can always tidy up with the other colours if you need to. Making mistakes is all part of the painting process. Now we'll paint that purple carapace using Naggaroth Night. This is a really dark purple, but again, we need to thin it down and apply a few thin layers. We'll also be using this to paint the carapace of the weapon too. Remember to make sure you allow each coat of paint to dry fully before you apply the next one. You'll need 2 to 3 thin coats to get a full coverage of this colour. And to finish off, we'll paint the base just like we did earlier. Thin down some Abaddon Black and apply a few coats to the base, and don't forget to paint the rim of the base too. Remember, make sure you've got clean hands before you handle your miniature. Some of these details are quite tricky to reach, so just take your time and be as neat as you can. If you make any mistakes and you get any black onto the rest of your Tyranid, don't worry, just tidy up with the other colours. And there we have it, the miniatures from your Getting Started with Warhammer 40,000 magazine are finished and looking awesome, ready for their first battle. For more tutorials, tips and tricks, you can head to your local Warhammer store where our amazing staff will be more than happy to help you. Or head on over to citadelcolor.com. Well, we hope you've enjoyed the video and we'll see you next time. Bye!